Thank you everybody for being here for this two-part learning series this evening, where first we had a eminent professor from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences talking to us about a theory which is to be really applicable in corporate organizations to make them succeed. And to continue with the Jugalbandi, I'd like to first acknowledge the presence of Dr. A.K. Sengupta, who is the founder and founding trustee of the Higher Education Forum. There's very little that one will talk about, say, Dr. Sengupta, which is unknown. A doyen in the field of education, he's been through several positions nationally, internationally in leading academic institutions, best remembered for the wonderful work in making SP Jain the brand that it is today, the SIES Group Management School, what it is today. And of course, his second innings, third innings continues to be as stronger. The second innings saw the Higher Education Forum blossom into what it is today, an advocacy organization in the field of higher education. And his third innings, as I call it, is where he's advocating the entire approach to better living and happier living for senior citizens and retired community people. It was Dr. Sengupta's idea that we had a joint program where academia and industry can get together to discuss on something very, very interesting and important today. And that is how the entire approach to digital learning has changed the way teachers need to teach in the classroom so that students get meaningful outcomes of the same. And therefore, we decided here to have a speaker who is an expert from industry. So Jagmohan Rishi, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to lead this session for us. And before I get to introducing Jagmohan and ask him to take on, may I request Dr. Sengupta to please make a few opening remarks. Over to you, sir, Dr. Sengupta.
Thank you, Professor Mani, for the kind words and the, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I? Yeah. Thank you for the kind words of introduction. Let me also say the audience that the Professor Mani is also one of the founding trustees of Higher Education Forum. And for the last 11, 12 years, we have been working very hard to make the Higher Education Forum grow. Now, we have been working mainly in the areas of the education for the two different stakeholders, main stakeholders of the higher education. One are the teachers, the faculty members, and the second is the students. These are the two stakeholders we are trying to do something, the capacity building in the area of the higher education. Because we strongly believe that if India is to go anywhere near the developed countries in terms of becoming once again a knowledge hub that we used to be, it is education that has to lead the way. We have been talking about the reforms in the education, but I think much needs to be done. The national education policy which has come up also, we are miles to go in terms of the first stone of implementation has also not been laid down thanks to the maybe pandemic, but because the problem of education that we are in the concurrently, so it is both under the control of the central government as well as the state government. So there's a lot of confusion as far as the education sector goes. Now in the pandemic, one of the biggest transformation which has taken place is moving from the offline mode of education to the online mode of education. And we had a lot of problem with the teaching community. You know, we did our first training program in the area of the online education. That was somewhere in the March 2020. When we just were on the threshold of migrating to the online education, we were not clear about the platforms also. So we experimented with the Zoom, we experimented with the Google Meet, we experimented with the Zio Meet. I mean, there's several. We experimented with the WebEx and several other private, platforms which are available. We also looked into the various methodologies which can be applicable. You know that it is easy to teach a case study, for example. It is easy to teach a case study in the classroom situation, but can we really teach an education, a case study in an online mode? It is easy to possibly influence the behavior of the students to some extent in an offline mode, but can we really influence the behavior of the students, or can we keep them engaged? Can we keep them engaged in an online mode? So there are a lot of issues which we discussed, and we have come a long way. You know, it's almost a year where we have been into the online education, and we have come a long way. And the feedback which we get from the many of the faculty members from the not only the premier institutions, but I'm talking about even the education institutions which are located in the semi-urban areas and the rural areas, that they are really enjoying the online mode of education. I'm not very sure how much the students are enjoying. That's a very difficult question to answer, because no research has been done to find out how much the students have actually derived the benefit out of this purely the online mode of education. So when the Professor Mani talked about this particular topic about the high engagement online educational skills for the teachers, we were excited, because we thought this is a topic which we have talked much, we have learned a lot, but still there is a lot of learning to go into it. And when it is coming from a person who is from a corporate, not from an academic world, possibly it is going to be much more interesting. So immediately I jumped to the idea. So thanks to Professor Mani for taking this initiative. And once again, I hand it back to the Professor Mani. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sengupta, for those insightful words. And we assure you that we are with you to ensure that the learning journey continues with HEF, with BME, and to ensure that the best of learning is available to those who have the inclination to learn. Welcome, Jagmohan Rishi. Welcoming Jagmohan is a very, very enjoyable activity for me, because more than anything else, I'm welcoming a member of the executive committee of the Bombay Management Association. We've been working together over the last 1 year to ensure that digital learning ensures some amount of wisdom being transferred to the members during these difficult times. Professionally, Jagmohan has completed his MBA from XIMB, a leading institute of management which all of us are aware of, and subsequently has had several stints in areas of human resources, training, quality management, and today is revered as a head of learning, also in the digital learning space. He's been awarded the Golden Peacock Award not once, but twice in the year 2018 and 19 consecutively. And Jagmohan, we are waiting for the news of hat-trick sometime in the near future as soon as possible. Jagmohan spends a lot of his time training the employees not only of Wockhardt, where he works as the head of learning and development and digital learning, but spends a lot of time in management schools, helping teachers to become better facilitators. He's very popular all over India and has taken several sessions in these institutions. Also, I'm surprised he found the time to write a bestseller book called Are You a Digital Dinosaur? And I must confess, something exemplary that he has done. All the proceeds of this book go to emancipate the people who have suffered out of various war tragedies. Hats off to you, Jagmohan, for this noble thought. Thank you for agreeing to be part of this HEF BMA event this evening. And over to you to share some of your wisdom and experiences with us. Over to you, Jagmohan.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'm audible?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. And it is my pleasure to be part of this particular forum. And I think after a great session by Zubin, I mean, I wanted to learn more for it, but I would like to continue with my session now. And he is little light in my mind, and I do like to do a research on the stratified learnings kind of thing. But before that, I would continue with this session. Let me, by raise of your hand, I would want some cameras on, you know, because this is an online session, basically a session particularly for online trainings, and online trainings cannot happen with cameras off. So can I have for some period of time your cameras on? We'll do a very, very small activity, and based on that, I would like to, you know, take it forward. So can I see a raise of your hand, a wave of your hand? Okay, because let us make this idiot box kind of little human thing, so that, you know, it starts breathing also. So thank you very much. And how many of you really like to, you know, would like to be learn the art, master the art of passionate virtual facilitation? Raise your hand, please. Again, I repeat it. How many of you would like to master the art of passionate, you know, virtual facilitation? Okay. You can raise a second hand again. How many of you like to have very, very highly engaged class? Both, very nice. And how many of you want both of them? Again, of course. Great. Obviously, everybody wants that only, my dear friends. So that is the whole objective of this particular session. And before I go forward, I like to understand how many of you are really excited for this session. Raise your hand. Okay. So now this doesn't give me any kind of indication. So I would request Professor Mani to read me from the chats that you have to put down a number from 1 to 10. How excited are you for this session? Put it in a chat box. What number? How you 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the highest. 10 being the highest. So how excited are you for the session? Again, the topic is, I must again repeat that it is on highly engaging online engagements. High engagement online facilitation skills for teachers.
8, 10, 10, 10, 8.
8, 10, 10, 10, 8. Excellent, excellent.
9.
Very nice. Very good. Very good. Excellent, excellent. So can I request, I hope all of you are having a paper with you. I would want one paper and pen with you. If you are not having, please arrange for it and have a pen and paper with you, please. And while you are having pen and paper, once you have got the pen and paper, please give a thumbs up from your PC or from your laptop or from your mobile. Give me a thumbs up. Yes, you got that. Excellent. So while you are many of you are collecting the papers, I would like to, is it okay if I can share a little more brief about myself? Give me a thumbs up again. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Some of you must be thinking that I'm asking a lot of questions. So the thing is that, this is the time when, I was a young child, a young Rishi in Jalandhar. And I used to, play chess with my grandfather. My grandfather, he used to beat me in the chess. I was about 7th or 8th standard, 6th or 7th standard. And I said that I used to get really frustrated that I'm not able to beat my Darji. I used to call him Darji, my grandfather. He's a veteran from, British Army. So once I said, Darji, I will be able to beat you once I do my graduation. Then he said, okay, you can beat me after doing your graduation, but that doesn't mean your studies are over. And the sentence which he told me then also, I still remember. He said, learning is a lifelong. Education may end in the college. And that's exactly what I remember over here, that you keep on learning. And as I was sharing with Professor Mani, that you keep on adding certifications and, degrees to yourself, even when your college education is over. So that's exactly what we do. And I have a lot of respect for teachers who keep on teaching and building the capability of India. Not only that, I like to share with you 2 failures which I had, very, very, very strong failures. I had first failure when I could not join army because I come from armed forces family. My father was in army, grandfather was in army. I was rejected and I was broken. It was basically primarily because of medical reasons. The second time was, instead of army, I joined the sales profession. And in the first week, I flopped. I could not make any sale. And I was again devastated. I said, what the hell? I cannot be successful in army. I cannot be successful in sales. But thanks to my teacher, one of my trainers, who was a very good sales trainer, he added a punch to my life. And of course, because of that, I became All India topper, growth of around 20%. Of course, sold the brands like that. So I like to share my slides over here. Sir, have you made me the host?
Just 1 second. It is enabled. I'm just rechecking.
Yeah, you have to make me the one where I am as a...
Go ahead. It's done. You can go ahead. Start sharing.
Okay. Yes, thank you. So maybe I'll use a complete screen only.
That's it. It's already visible.
Thank you. So all of you can see my screen now. Can you give me a thumbs up, please, quickly? Yeah, thank you. So going ahead further, I repeated this thing that I'm an army reject salesperson turned leader, trainer, transformed to a digital mentor nowadays. This is my family, my super girl, my super wife, of course, and I am stuck between the two superpowers accordingly. I started my career as a salesperson. I told you I started selling Dilantin, which is a product for something locha in the brain. Then I, of course, came down to your throat, that is Benadryl. Then, of course, as you take spirited drinks, you take Gelusil also. And once you take spirited drinks, you have to use Listerine and Halls also. So these are some of the products which I used in Park Davis and Pfizer. I sold Corex as well as Viagra. I hope you are aware of these brands. And of course, to increase the beauty of the baby to the bride, Sebamed, which is one of the largest selling brands in India. I can take full day training on this. So I worked in these few companies: Park Davis, Pfizer, Warren Lambert, and Golden Peacock. Sir has already mentioned. I will not spend any time over here. Some of the slides I like to do it further. I think sir has also mentioned I'm donating all the profits to Bharat Ke Veer Foundation. So if I have to go this session was predicted by Betty and Archie's in 1997. You must be seeing this going on in WhatsApp these days. In 97, I got the edition also of this. That in 1997, the Betty was doing video learning. And thank God, she said it got over in that year itself. So from that perspective, I would like to continue in that particular session wherein we, okay. So what I'm not going to cover in this particular slide is 30,000 feet quantification. No case studies from Silicon Valley, data insights and survey reports. No, but I'm going to give you hardcore learnings with respect to online virtual facilitation, particularly for teachers. And that's what exactly I'm going to do here. My question to you here is, please put in the chat box, why should anyone listen to you? Why should anyone listen to you? Please put in the chat box. I would like to see what is the answer for that. Sir, can you please share with the answers which you're getting it?
It will benefit to the listener.
Okay, it will benefit the listener. Okay. I am assuming that this particular session is going to the teachers, so your students are there, or even in corporate, the employees are there. So I repeat my question: why should anyone listen to you? It will benefit the listener. Okay.
Experience helps.
Because of my experience. Okay. Because you are experienced. Value addition. Okay. Very good.
Quality of content.
Quality of content. Okay.
There is something in it for the listener.
There's something in it for the listener. Okay. What else, sir?
Knowledge sharing.
Knowledge sharing.
Will help solve a problem sometime.
Okay.
Receiving knowledge.
Receiving
knowledge.
Okay. Okay.
So those were 7-8 responses which came up immediately.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing with me. So primarily what I wanted to do is, I wanted to understand that what is the quality which you have got, because of which the team members or the students, are they coming to listen to you? Is it because of the, the quality which you have, or because of stars you have got on the shoulder? Because many in the corporate, I always say, when I train the trainers over here, that many times we get a designation by the company. So the team member is not forced to listen to me, but whether they're really coming to it or not. Okay. Before we go further, let's do that exercise which I just now told you. I'm sure you must be having that paper with you. Please draw the left hand outline. Left hand outline on the paper, please. Please draw the left hand outline on the paper. Once you have done, okay, you must have done it. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. I think Professor Rakesh Somani is very fast here. Hey, I get the first thumbs up from him. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. So outline your left hand and write your guiding value or principle in the palm of your outlined hand. Okay. Again, I must say, I just repeat it once again. In the center, you start writing the values which are your guiding principles on the palm of your hand. And in the center, you should write down the core value of yours. In the center, write down the core value of yours. For the benefit of others, I'm showing some values in case you would like to refer to the values. Open-mindedness, optimism, organization, beauty, clarity, tolerance, success. Done. So again, I would like to, ask you in the chat box, what is the core value which is coming for you in the chat box? Please type it out. And the core value should be such, you can write on your palm and you should close with your thumb also. Yeah, what are the core values, sir? Can I get from them, please?
So I see integrity to begin with.
Very good.
The first comment.
Yes, sir.
Sincerity. Hard work, dedication.
Keep
human
coming,
relations,
please.
Human relations, honesty.
Okay.
Modesty, integrity. Service responsibility, compassion.
Very nice. I like the service responsibility is very good topic, particularly from the teacher's point of view, from the trainer's point of view.
Insightfulness, okay. Respect, calmness, kindness, curiosity.
Wow, that's good. I love the curiosity and the calmness part also. Excellent. So thank you very much for sharing with this, and everybody, thank you very much. Why I did the small exercises, because yesterday only I was in one of the talks with Mr. D.S. Barar, who's a managing director of Ranbaxy at one point of time. And he made a very important comment. He made a comment that Bill Gates, he said that if you do any kind of automation in a efficient system, the automation will magnify the efficiency of that efficient system. But if you do automation in an inefficient system, it will magnify many times the inefficiencies of that system also. So similarly, that is the reason I'm bringing out that if your value systems are strong, particularly from the service orientation, bringing customer delight, be it a student or a corporate employee, then this kind of digital tools will help you grow further. So your basics, fundamentals have to be very, 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 very clear, my dear friends. So this brings to us the challenges which have been brought on because of the COVID condition, which Dr. Sen Gupta had mentioned. For example, there were technology challenges. I must mention that, when COVID started, in our company also, there were a lot of technical challenges because everybody was not having laptops or iPads. So our participants were not having laptops and iPads. How to go about it? Alignment, their understanding was very, very challenging. Visual space, I mean, this is the only space which is available. What all things can be done on this particular aspects? Interaction. Now, interaction wise, you can't have boardroom kind of interaction with or classroom kind of interaction in the digital space. And the biggest was the engagement. Right? how do you keep people engaged? There is a joke going on that, the student says that in my online class, I can mute my teacher, but in my offline class, how can I mute my teacher? So that is on a lighter side, but engagement is another aspect. Etiquettes, now how I present my learnings, my teachings in an online atmosphere is an art, my dear. It's not a science, it's an art. Then of course we need to practice it also, and monitoring also is required. I have done a complete video of this particular aspect, how I can be looking on online etiquettes, and it's uploaded on my YouTube channel. You can have a look at it also. Now, there are advantages. Everything has two sides, my dear friend. Each attendee or each one of you can share one point. What are the advantages of online teaching? I have mentioned 8. The moment I reach 8, I will move forward. So please do put in the chat box, what are the advantages of online teaching? Can I have some ideas from you, please? I've given you the challenges, but you have to give me the advantages. So Professor Manik, you will have to again help me out with this.
Certainly. Very few advantages, but geography can be bridged.
Geography is a history now, of course.
Correct.
Yeah.
Use of LMS to be maximum. Learning management systems.
Use of LMS.
The reach is maximum.
Okay.
No time and place complexities.
Absolutely.
Flexibility.
Flexibility is another one. Very nice.
The recorded lectures can be reused to benefit learners.
Absolutely. Anytime learning.
I'm going to take 1 minute to interject here for everybody's benefit. That's precisely what we have done at BMA. Over 80 videos of various sessions that we've conducted over the last 10 months are on the BMA YouTube channel, and they are being watched regularly by students, faculty, corporate executives. So that's a very, very good point which we have tried to put into action. Another point coming up is flexibility. Time zones can be leveraged better.
Absolutely.
The responsibility of learning is now equally with the learner.
Absolutely. The responsibility shifts towards learner also.
Yes, the experts from all over the globe can be invited.
Great. This is the perfect example.
And the point you made, Rishi, was made by someone else, and I quote, responsibility has been transferred to learners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Great.
Okay, so that's where we are. Continue.
So thank you very much. I think very good points have come up. Number one, the reach part, that you can reach more number of participants. And today, earlier Harvard was reaching us. Today we can reach Harvard also from here. Okay. That is a kind of reach what digital has given us. Number two, geography has become history, and all those boundaries by which have been created by countries are going away because of the digital part. Number three, of course, you can do ATM, that is anytime learning, my dear friends. Anytime learning you can do because of the digital. And most important aspect is you can transfer the responsibility of learning on the participant, on the student, or on the team member. But for that, it is not that you give videos and they can watch on their own, because there are hundreds of YouTube videos which are there. So a lot of responsibility lies on the teachers and the trainers to create a structure in such a manner that they give bite-sized learnings to everybody. Because today you can't give them 2 hours or 3 hours of learning and you expect them to learn and come back. No. Today's era of bite-sized learning, 10 minutes of videos, which have to be very, very engaging with a lot of questions to be asked. And that will help them, create those bite-sized videos. In my company, Walkart, we have created bite-sized videos for each and every brand for science also. And at the end of that video, we ask a question in that, which will engage all the participants we create a leaderboard. I'm going to share with you a trademark model of mine, effect model. That is, E is for engagement, F is for facilitator, C is for content, and T is for tools and techniques, friends. So this primarily effect model is the one model which I have personally used. I have personally experienced, and I have found it very, very successful for for myself as well as my trainers also. Now, what exactly engagement is, I will go into detail about it. I will explain what is the role of facilitator. I will also mention about what kind of content is very, very relevant. And of course, what kind of tools and techniques should be used in such a manner. Now, because of 2020, many of the teachers and trainers have already gone ahead of the learning curve. So I will not go too much in detail about Zoom and Google Meet and other aspects, but I will give a passing reference on it. Sorry. Yeah. So when it comes to engagement part, we talk about ensuring clarity, number 1. Number 2, appropriate exercises. Number 3, read non-verbal body language. Number 4 is take breaks. Number 5 is let classmates interact. And number 6 is recap and Q&A. This is the typical of a classroom session also. But in an engagement model, I would like to go deeper over here, that whenever we are going into any kind of engagement activity, now what I talk about activities, I'll come back to this slide again. For example, there is an activity tool called Mentimeter. How many of you know about Mentimeter? Please give a thumbs up. How many of you know about Mentimeter? You don't know about Mentimeter? Okay, I will give you a demo of Mentimeter today if you want it. I have my colleague waiting here who will be giving a demo of Mentimeter. It's a wonderful tool to enhance and increase engagement in the classroom. And it is a tool which will enhance not only your engagement, but will give a lot of energy levels in your teaching itself. Okay, so that is one thing. Second is the activity Wheel of Names. This is primarily another activity which I use before we start the session, whenever the new students or new participants come. This is basically a very good icebreaker exercise. Number 3 is Google Jamboard. How many of you have heard about Google Jamboard? Okay. Google Jamboard is another free tool, my dear friends, which is available on Google Gmail, which you can use. Two people sitting at home it's a common blackboard kind of thing. So suppose if I share a screen over here, you can write on that blackboard also. We can do a brainstorming on that session also. So whatever you write on your Jamboard will be visible on my Jamboard also. So that's a kind of Google Jamboard, we call it. We call it jamming sessions, you know. So I use it very often when we are doing a training for our science projects, for our brands, for brainstorming sessions, for strategy sessions, for leadership sessions. So this is one tool which I use very, very effectively in a corporate. And of course, I've taught to many trainers and teachers, and they found it very, very useful. When it comes to engagement, my dear friends, I would like to take you through another slide. Although I had not prepared for this, but it was there with me. So I will run through this slide quickly. I will not go into each slide. For example, there are sessions that where are you joining from? You know, you can straight away ask a question. You are joining from which place? I mean, if you are in Mumbai, are you joining from Andheri, Kolaba, blah, blah, blah? Or if you are having a national meeting, you can have, we are joining from, I'm joining from Kolkata, I'm joining from Delhi, I'm joining from Dibrugarh or Guwahati or Dispur, whatever it is. So that is a kind of, you know, you get a dashboard over here, and in Mentimeter, you can use this also. This creates a very good positive engagement in the team members. Zoom background challenge. You know, you can always create, basically what happens, students, like in this session also, most of the participants are video off, you know, but if I create, okay, we will give a prize or award to the best Zoom background. So definitely people will try to keep Zoom background very nicely. So you give a Zoom background challenge, and this will make sure that your, you know, participants are online, because you will not know that whether they're sitting there listening to you or they are watching TV. Then of course, another activity which I do is home treasure scavenger hunt. This is another interesting activity. Then of course is one word. How do you describe? This is a part of my Mentimeter exercise, that this becomes a word cloud, and the word which is being most used becomes in center. Intense, tough, fun. We'll use this exercise also. Then there is another one, achievement of the month. In the achievement of the month, we can always, in a Mentimeter, we can use it. What is the key achievement of the month? You can always, people can talk about it. Failure of the month can also be highlighted. What has been the failure of the month? We could not have parent teacher meeting this time. Write about it, kind of thing. Okay. Then of course is the guess whose paper is this? You know, this is a very interesting activity which we do. So if you really want to create some surprise, the person who's failed, and hide the name and show whose paper is this. Don't reveal the failure's name, but it creates a lot of fun kind of activity for the participants. Visual brainstorming, just like Google Jamboard I mentioned, this is another activity which is visual brainstorming with the students. You can do it. Then of course there is an activity like pair and share, which is you can use in a breakout rooms. How many of you use breakout rooms, my dear friends, as a teachers or trainers? Excellent. Do you find it useful? Give me a thumbs up. Excellent. So your breakout room is one technique, my dear friend, which you are getting it free of cost in digital. In a physical mode, breakout rooms are not available that easily. But in a digital mode, you can get as many as possible. I remember when I used to do a program in 5-star hotels, if I need to do breakout rooms, I have to pay for extra rooms. Here I'm getting it free of cost here. Then name that sound. This is another interesting activity wherein you play the sound and ask them to what kind of sound is this. So movie time, gaming, extracurricular activity, dancing, painting, yoga, a lot of things are there. I am just running through this, but I will go to my main slide presentation. So engagement, my dear friends, is a very, very important aspect, that if you ensure clarity to your, if you have a clarity, what kind of engagement I should have, do appropriate exercises. And this will also help you read non-verbal language, body language, give them breaks. And of course, let the classmates interact through breakout rooms. Then of course, in the end, you have to recap and have a Q&A sessions. Yes, sir. You wanted to say something?
Rishi, there is a very specific request. Could you explain a little more about the wheel of names? That was very, very interesting. If you can spend a little time on that.
The thing is that, when unknown people are joining, in a training program, and for example, in a classroom, it is known, most of the students are known. But when unknown people are joining, we will give them a tool in which they will enter their names. And this wheel revolves, just like wheel of fortune that revolves, this also revolves. And wherever this indicator stops, suppose it stops at Ali, then Ali will come forward and introduce himself to the team, that this is what I am and this is my objective is. The teacher or trainer can give a structure of introduction. At the same time, Gabriel will come next, and then of course, we'll again spin the wheel, and the next person comes forward. There are multiple creatives you can do it. Suppose you want to do somebody to make a presentation. So you want to be fair that I'm not calling anybody by known. So you can use wheel of names. Okay, next person who's going to come for presentation is Ali. And you can again spin the wheel, and then the next person can come. I hope I've explained it.
Sure.
It's a very, very high energy game activity, and it creates a lot of positive engagement. And I've got best results for these three activities which I mentioned: Mentimeter, activity Wheel of Names, and of course, Google Jamboard. I promise you, in case time permits, we will definitely do a Mentimeter in the end. And this is the list of all the engagement tools which are there available. For example, Zoom, Noe, Typeform, SurveyMonkey, Evernote, Slido, Kahoot. There are umpteen number of. Trello is there, Asana is there. So a lot of surveys and conferencing participant, whiteboarding is there. Zoom features I already mentioned. We should be, if you are using Zoom, I should know what are the new functionality which have come up. For example, in Teams and Meets, there are new functionalities which have come up. Virtual background, waiting room, personal meeting room, breakout rooms, calendar integration, multi-share, touch-up appearance, very popular in girls, this one. Polling. So this is another one which is there. So polls are another one. So this brings us to the second part of my effect model, that is facilitator. I've spent some time on engagement. It's a very powerful, because whatever your content is, this particular aspect, that's the reason I put it first one. This will determine how effectively you are going to engage your participants or students effectively. When it comes to facilitator, number one is identifying session goals. Number two, of course, is setting expectations. Third is, of course, brush up your skills. Use voice very, very effectively, and we have to test it out before we get into that. Multitasking is very, very important, managing technology. Now, what I normally do is I'd always have one helper with me, one assistant or my colleague of mine who will play the videos, who will play the polls, who will play the Mentimeter with me. So those things are very, very important as a facilitator. But if you do not have that luxury, you have to multitask yourself. Session goals are very, very important. That's the reason I said that when you have to transfer the knowledge, the learning responsibility to your participants, it is important that I will design the structure in that particular manner and set expectations. By end of this session, we will be doing these things. Then, of course, brush up your skills of technology. At the same time, multitasking, playing video, doing leaderboard, at the same time giving case study and all those aspects. Third comes the content. In the content part, I mentioned earlier also, the normal content, which is there in the offline mode, the PPTs may not work in this online mode, because in offline mode, they are in front of you. Here, they are not in front of you. You have to create a lot of slides. Making a slide doesn't cost you anything. So make creative slides, make slides which will attract them, make colorful slides, give animations accordingly. So creative presentation, storytelling is very, very important. Now, so online storytelling and offline storytelling, there is a difference, my dear friend. Ek time hota tha, once upon a time in 1947, okay? People are not ready to these days. These days is a Instagram, Snapchat children or kids are there. They don't want to listen the Mahabharatas and Ramayans or Bible or Guru Granth Sahibs of the stories. They want to listen quick ones. 1 minute story. So that's a kind of storytelling is required, that you quickly finish your story and come to the relevant point. Include games and Q&A, polls, etc. in your content, my dear friend. Detailed presentation, should you do it or not do it? Let me ask you. Very, very detailed presentation, should you do it or not do it? It all depends, it all depends upon the topic. And for example, I have done for my WOW presentation is a 3-day presentations. So where we do detailed presentation of teaching them neurology, we make them doctors. The neurology is going in so much in depth that morning till evening, but we make it creative. We create question answers. We do storytelling. We create gamification into that. So that is what is required. So you can give serious presentations also. You can give light presentations also, but you have to mix it up with every 10 minutes, something new with them. Share relevant examples, display poll results also. That will help them understand accordingly. Finally, tools and techniques. Know your technical setup. Very, very important. Am I using Zoom? Am I using Google? I'm using, Microsoft Teams accordingly. Record the class if possible. Definitely, you should record the class, and also pre-record the class also, because pre-record the class what you can, so that some things you don't need to repeat it there only. You can say, okay, watch this video. Then we'll continue over there. So you should have small pre-recorded sessions of 5 minutes each. Okay. This is a very important tip I'm giving you, that if there is something which is repeatable, record those sessions. Consider number of students, of course. Use the right tools, webcam and microphone, and use more of videos and music. Get all students on webcam, as mentioned earlier also. Prepare online engagement activities from freely available tools accordingly. And tools and activities, you start with Wheel of Fame. During the activities, you use Mentimeter, Jamboard. Closing, you use SurveyMonkey and Zoom poll accordingly. At the start, set rules, introduce the topics, and of course, enable sharing, create conversations, create common ground, and ensure clarity. Create empathy in the virtual room also, my dear friend. Very, very important. During the sessions, we need attention, retention, and perception. Few of the questions which you would be asking is, are you ensuring that you have attention of the virtual backbenchers also? Now, here backbenchers primarily are those ones who switch it off and... Hello, am I audible? Okay.
Yes, Jagmohan, no problem at all.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Fine. No, it was showing that I've left. I think my screen sharing has gone down.
You want to continue the screen share?
Yeah. There is some connectivity issue, sir. I'm logged into two devices.
I understand. Yeah, you have the permission to screen share. Please continue.
Yeah. It is taking some time, sir. So in the meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll continue with my presentation itself because I'm not able to share from my other device. So during the session, we need to have attention, retention, and perception. So we have to get the attention of the backbenchers. At the same time, how the retention is being done by the participants. Just a minute, I've got the connectivity over here, and I will share the screen again.
Go ahead.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I was saying that for retention are the sessions designed to check if all important information has been absorbed. So there I put a, three checklists. One is must have it, or it's okay to have it, and something it is good to have it. So those kind of retention things are there. Perception wise, are you able to capture students' opinions and perceptions, of course. Then, of course, finally, we go to closing part. We understand what is the application of learning. We practice the activity, and we have a fun activity which will engage your participants. Now, this is something which I found that many teachers, they don't do this fun activity, and they don't do practice activity also, because they think that my job is to teach them. My job is to teach them, and their job is to listen to me. That is the reason in the beginning I asked a question: why should anybody listen to you? Just because you are a teacher, you have been asked by the university to teach them. So you have to consider your students as stakeholders, my dear friend. That is the reason we did a value activity, that if your value is to learning. My managing director, Dr. Khurakiwala, he says, my training should be such that even the dullest of the participants should be able to understand the training. You have to simplify the learnings in such a manner. So that's exactly what my request to the teachers is, that you have to simplify and keep engagement in such a manner. So we do repetition of those things through these fun activities, through the practice activities, which will help us, to understand and repeat those learnings for them. So in summary, I will say the challenges we covered, the effect model we covered, engagement, facilitator, content, tools and techniques, and the session plan we covered: start, during, and close. Learning is more effective when it is active rather than passive. I think you must have heard this thing aspect of it. And keeping this thing in mind, what I've done is I've created a separate module exclusively for the teachers, train the teachers. It talks about virtual facilitation, high impact engagement through facilitation for teachers, specializing in breakout magics, virtual icebreakers, energizers, fun offered by customized workshops, expertise to deliver bite-sized sessions of 90 to 120 minutes only. At the same time, some of the key questions which have been asked is: deliver your virtual presentation and facilitation to help learners take action and apply ideas quickly. Engage, motivate, and inspire learners in your sessions. Use various templates, tools, exercises, prototypes, demos to create reference library and advance your skills. Finally, learners want passion in their work, my dear friend. So why your learners seek out and follow passionate facilitators? Now, I used to have favorite teachers of mine. His or her classroom used to be full. So that's exactly what you need to create: a picture of passionate facilitators, passionate trained teachers. How to find your learners' needs and provide them high impact ideas. How to inspire learners by helping them identify their passion in the subject. How to help learners do sustainable learning, my dear friends. Finally, facilitation and presentation will also talk about how to prepare, practice, deliver virtual sessions that arouse passion in others. How to use the art and scientific method of mirroring reflections facilitation. Then, of course, I'll not go the whole one. How to deliver no lecture webinar. How to use voice, facial expression, appearance, even your accent to your advantage. How to use conversations in facilitation. to immerse the learners, friends. And finally, of course, the technologies that glorify your passion and style. How to find your presentation and facilitation style and strengths, and select the technologies that enhance them, friends. How to know that when technology gets in the way of facilitation. How do you sample provocative, passionate virtual sessions without glitter of too much technology? What technology methods to communicate passionate vision and, of course, actions, friends. So this is in short, my dear friend, I've taken a power-packed orientation. I will leave it to the interaction part because I believe more in interaction rather than, that part, of course. Before we go into Mentimeter, I'll give a demo of Mentimeter to you. But if you have any questions, I don't mind answering questions right away.
Jagmohan, I suggest that you could finish the Mentimeter, then we can close the slides and then have an interaction face-to-face.
Sure, sir, sure. So can you make Kreenal a host because she's having my Mentimeter access? Kreenal is there. Kreenal, can you? In the meanwhile, all of you, please log in, open your mobiles and open menti.com. Menti.com. Kreenal, I'm stopping the sharing over here.
Yes, sir.
I request all of you to please open menti.com, menti.com. So if you have opened menti.com, please enter the code 1847203. Wow, I can see one player. Strawberry is also there. There's a ghost, there's a flower. Very good. Excellent. There's a buzo. See how interesting it becomes. So normally there are names. This time it is, you got logos over here. Oh, very good. Chocolate pie also. The rabbit. Oh, James Bond, I suppose. There are how many participants? I think we can get at least 10 over here. And then, of course, we can start playing it. So anyway, in the interest of time, we have got up, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8 participants. Kreenal, can you run through it quickly?
Yes,
you
sir.
Give a briefing of it. Yeah. So you will get the question on your screen and you have to answer it on your screen and you will get the results over here then. Answer fast to get more points. Fastest finger first also. Who said, I don't think champagne on 2 occasions? When I'm in love and when I'm not. This will motivate you to drink champagne. Okay. So right answer is Coco Channel. So 3 of you have given it the right answer. So the second answer is, second question, who would you rather have lunch with? Elon Musk, Angelina Jolie, Tim Burton, okay, Michelle Obama, your mom. One person has answered, okay. Kreenal, don't press the next one, okay? Just hold on one minute.
Okay, sir.
So this is a rating kind of scale, For the teachers, this is a very good rating scale. I've just given an example of this, how you rate. So this question can be said that, here I have given, I would rather have lunch with my mom. That's great. Very nice of you guys. Very good. Thank you very much for loving your mom. Give her a big hug on my behalf also. And that is good. So have you got I have just given one sample of the question of Mentimeter. The first was primarily checking at the knowledge level. This is checking the preference level. So rating scale. Then third one now. What are your strengths that you bring to work every day outside your functional expertise and experience? Yes, very, very important question. Think about it and answer. What are your strengths that you bring to work every day outside your functional expertise and experience? Not your knowledge and experience. What is the other thing? Dedication, honesty, integrity. Very good. Yeah, you see the word cloud is being formed. Somebody has mentioned communication. You see, honesty is the highest as of now. So all the words which are being entered over here are coming here in the center. Passion is become the highest now. Honesty is still highest now. So are you getting, you get a word cloud over here, which will give an idea to you guys. So I think, Krinal, you can stop sharing it now.
Yes,
so
sir.
Friends, we have got 3 questions over here. Primarily, my idea was to give you a sampling of these questions so that when you start using Mentimeter, you can create a lot of engagement, high energy engagement activity with your students as well as the participants through Mentimeter. I have just given some samples. You can use this in 100 ways. I use Mentimeter in my every training program, and there are similar tools like Mentimeter, and I use it my trainers. It is mandatory to use Mentimeter kind of tool for in every training program. Okay. Before that, I would request all of you now to please come on camera live. In the starting, I told you, and in the end again, I'm telling you, please come live on camera. We are going to do one exercise. Very interesting exercise. I want to see everybody on camera, please.
All right, Jagmohan, thank you very much. And
Sir,
I guess we are now ready for the question and answer session. I think there was some network issue. We lost you for a couple of seconds. As we always do, questions are welcome.
Sir, I'm doing one activity. Sir, I'm doing one activity here. So everybody is on camera now. So now I would want you to close your eyes. Keep your mobile next to you. I want you to keep your mobiles next to you. Close your eyes and dial my number. Close your eyes, please, everybody. Dial my number. My number is 9820336799. Keep your eyes closed, please. Keep your eyes closed and dial my number, please. 9820336799. I think I'm talking to teachers. There will be no cheating, of course. So anybody is given up? So far, my mobile is not getting a call. Okay, you can open your eyes, my dear friends. Was it easy? Sir, you can unmute some of them and let them share some of the thoughts which they have. If somebody wants to share. Was it easy? You can.
Yeah, those who wish to speak can unmute yourself and speak. Go ahead. I never thought teachers would be so shy to speak.
it was absolutely very difficult task as, first of all, you have to find out the unlock code of the mobile if it is locked, and then finding numbers. It was difficult, simply difficult.
This is a part of my critical thinking program, which I do it, and this exercise. And this I picked up in one of the studies that Professor Kaustubh Dalgarkar, he did this with IIT students, and not going too much in details, my dear friend, he used this thing primarily though for those students who were blind. It is possible, my dear friend. And only thing is what I'm doing critical thinking is you have to put in a stepwise process. So maybe at a later stage, we can have a discussion offline that you can do this if you have the eyes closed. It is possible, though it may be a little difficult because I just gave you challenge right on the screen itself. So again, I must mention to you that, if we are very clear about our steps 1, 2, 3, 4 in the fundamentals, digital will enhance our efficiency many times. It will magnify our efficiency many times. So only thing is we have to be little critical thinkers as teachers also. So thank you very much, Professor Mani. I think I done.
All right, Jagmohan, we are not going to let you off so easily. There are lots of questions, but I'll take some of them so that we can have some discussion and be fair to your time. Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess to you that Jagmohan just returned back from travel 2 days ago and is a little unwell because he had to go through 3 different states and did pick up a little bout of fever and throat pain, etc. But his commitment to training and teaching is so much. Though he warned me that he's unwell, he also warned me that don't cancel the program. I don't want to miss this opportunity to share what I love to do. So thanks, Jagmohan, on that very, very specific sentiment. A couple of questions which I'm taking up first is, all this requires a lot of time, energy, and hand-holding. It's not easy to find these as teachers. Would you suggest some tips and tricks?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things, it's a very good question, very pertinent question. It requires a lot of time. Can I give you an analogy? I am a coach also, executive coach also, and I'm a trainer also. So I find that, coaching is more effective when it's one-to-one. But many leaders don't coach because they find they can't have that kind of time with their coaching. So that's exactly what I say, is that if you really want to be effective, you will have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself with respect to preparation of the content, with respect to understanding of the technology, with respect to practicing the technology, and most importantly, how you look on this technology. I talk about online etiquette also is very, very important. Having content, having technology is one part, but how do I look at technology? Very, very important. So I learned a hard way. For example, whenever I'm conducting training, today also, that Dilbert's principle is always there. My laptop camera stopped working. So I always have 2 gadgets with me so that I'm able to, continue my learning process. Learning should not stop. So in between, the slide sharing stopped in between and my other camera was working continuously. So it is important that we have our own plan. Now, Rishi's plan can be different. Rakesh's plan can be different. There are 2 Rakesh, Rakesh Bharucha ji and Rakesh Somani ji is also there. So Professor Mani's plan can be different. So what exactly you want your content to be created? But very important is that always have bite-sized learnings. Don't try to give everything in one go. Whenever you're giving a very important concept, have some break in it, small engagement activity, recap activity, poll activity, and you will understand where are they. I started this in my company 10 years ago. If you must have seen in KBC, there used to be fastest finger first. So I bought that gadget in my classroom training. And after every session, after 1 hour, we used to play that game. And that used to give us the indicator that how much trainer has and how the participants have understood from this training program. And it was an insight to the trainer, okay, whether my session was successful or not. So no feedback required, on the spot feedback. So that is exactly, it will give you instant feedback. You don't need to fill up any feedback forms. You will get there and then itself feedback. Your poll results. You ask this question like Mentimeter I asked you just now. Your rating scales and other things. Pardon me, okay. So you will have to make your own developmental plan, my dear friends, so that you master the technology, you make the content in a bite-sized manner, you make engagement activities. But again, I must tell you, you need to practice it. You know, you need to practice it, because Mentimeter, if I told you, just by looking at it, you will not do it. You will have to first run it to your family, to your friends, and then run in the main course. Yes, sir.
Valid point, Jagmohan. I'm delighted to welcome in our midst someone who is a professor himself of marketing, an alumnus of the prestigious Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. And I'm so delighted to welcome Professor Ravi Dhingra from Sacred Heart University, Connecticut, USA. Just to confirm that if you choose to learn, then early morning and late evening doesn't matter. Welcome, Professor Dhingra. Nice to have you back on the BMA platform. I'd hand over to you to make a comment or ask a question.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Rishi. That was very, very enlightening. It's 7 a.m. in the morning, or at least 7 a.m. when I started. But thank you. Those were some very good thought starters. A lot of the issues, same sort of issues that we struggle with here in our teaching, whether we are running workshops or whether we are teaching our MBA students. My question to you would be, have you come across research or your own experience or the experience of some of the other faculty here? How do you measure the effectiveness of your online teaching versus in class? You know, particularly when you have groups of 30 or 40 or 50, how do you constantly measure not work, not assignments, those are easily graded, but how do you measure what they are absorbing?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Dhingra. It is indeed a pleasure to for me that you are asking this question for me. In fact, I'm a practitioner and little bit of academician also. I did a research for my training program internally. This was before the COVID era, and I am always a fan of digitization. So what we did was we wanted to see what is the impact of the teachings in the offline and online mode. My personal take is that there's a complete research paper with me. I have not published it, but it is there for internal purposes only. I found that online evaluation of learning is much easier. It is more tangible than the offline mode. In the offline mode, it can be a little subjective. In the online mode, it is instantaneous, it is transparent, and you can get the feedback to the students as well as to the faculty on the spot. For example, you know, if I have to, in the Mentimeter itself, after every training program or every class, let us take example of, say, because we have got products on neurology. So if I've taken up a session on neurology, at the end of the class, there will be questions. There will be questions on neurology. Just 1 minute. There will be questions on neurology through Mentimeter, and that questions will be featuring over there. This will give me what is the class participation in this. Who are the people who have passed out of it? Who are the people who have come top? And there will be consistency seen in that or not. So am I seeing a trend in it? So I don't need to ask 30 questions. I will ask 10 objective questions. Two advantages in it: creates a lot of competition, it creates fun, and it gives me feedback that whether my session has been understood by my participants or not. So there are multiple tools to understand the transfer of learning by the participants. One of the tool is Mentimeter. There is Poll EV, and we have designed some of our own also. SurveyMonkey is another tool wherein there is a continuity of learning, which is there. SurveyMonkey, which we use accordingly. So those aspects which are there, which helps us little bit on the study part. What I see is that in the classroom, I call it phygital trainings, physical plus digital. So we take the baseline, we measure when the people come to the classroom, we measure the baseline scores of neurology, suppose, or even leadership also. Let's take neurology. If there are 10 participants, what is their scores as a baseline score? And then every day this new session is happening. For that subject, test is being done. And we measure the baseline score and the incremental score. Baseline score, incremental score. So we come to know the delta of the training which has happened. And it is a physical and digital mode, and we call it phygital mode. And it has helped me to present to stakeholders. This is the impact of the training which has happened. And this is the delta which has happened. And I have not stopped here. I've gone beyond that also. I have mapped it with the sales numbers also. So I have mapped the delta with the numbers, sales number also. So those students who had highest delta had the highest incremental sales in the coming 3 months. So I will stop here. It's a very large study. Which
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Rishi. The questions go on, but I'm going to just wind up with one question so that we respect your time and everybody's time. What would be the top 3 priorities you think that a teacher has to practice to move from the traditional teaching style to the digital teaching style? The top 3 priorities in sequence based on your experience.
Absolutely. Number 1 is mindset. Very, very important mindset, because offline is different from online. So if you think that my offline content will work online, sorry, no. So number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is redo the content part. Redo the content. Very, very important. That number 1, mindset. Number 2, redo the content and curate the content in such a manner that it is online ready. And I mentioned some techniques in this, that how you can customize your content in that particular manner so that it becomes online ready. And number 3 is practice. I could have added technology, but I will say practice on technology. So practice on technology is very, very important, because, technology is something which will not listen to you. Sometimes it puts you on mute, and sometimes it unmutes you when you don't have to be unmuted. So you need to practice, practice, and practice. So whether you're using Zoom, Google Meet, or Teams, or Mentimeter, whatever it is, you need to practice first, and you should see how am I looking. At the same time, I'll add a little bit more, that use as many, touch points like infographics, videos, small videos. These are part of the content. So 3 points: mindset, content, and practice.
Wonderful. Thanks, Rishi. I'm sure we will continue to interact with you. I must share with all of you that Jagmohan is someone who's very approachable. You can reach him on LinkedIn, is the easiest way to reach him, and has always made it a point to be available to share his wisdom with students, faculty, and executives alike. Thanks, Jagmohan. Despite not being in the best of health and the pink of health, you have been here this evening. We thank you very much for your time on behalf of both BMA and the Higher Education Forum. It will be only fitting that I request Dr. A.K. Sengupta to please make the closing remarks for this program and share his perspectives too. Over to you, Dr. Sengupta.
Thank you, Professor Mani. I think it was a fascinating session. The only issue is that we need to do research. If somebody asked about the research, I think we need to do a research that whether the online teaching has been, I'm talking about in a school and a college, has been as effective or more effective or less effective than the offline teaching. So that will throw the more light on what we should do as a teacher, because there is no substantive literature as of date which talks about whether the online teaching is more efficient, equal efficient, or less efficient. So therefore, at this stage, we the teachers need to go on experimenting, and these experiments have got the sky's the limit. Today, as a faculty member talked about, that there are several type of, even I learned a lot of like Mentimeter. I had no idea about the Mentimeter. So what I'm talking about is that there is a lot of learning scope as far as the digital transition of the teaching is concerned. So on behalf of the Higher Education Forum also, I thank the speaker profusely for throwing the light on this thing. I also sincerely thank the BMA and Professor Mani particularly for giving us the opportunity to be associated with it. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sengupta. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this learning activity. As usual, let's capture the memory of this evening spent with Jagmohan and earlier with Zubin. Can I request you to put on your videos this time so that we can capture your smiles for this group photograph? May I request everybody to put on your cameras? Jagmohan had also urged you for the same. I think it makes a lot of difference when we are able to see people or see each other during the learning process, if not physically, at least through the lens of the camera. We have a very efficient digital photography team. Well, if you took me seriously, I actually meant the BMA Secretariat. They've done a wonderful job of doing everything digitally over the last 1 year. May I request Supriya, Oindrila, Deepa to please do the honors and capture the smiles on everybody's faces to confirm how much we enjoyed the last 2 hours of learning on this Friday Fundamental series of the Bombay Management Association. While all of you keep smiling, let me give you 2 more reasons to smile. Next Wednesday, we have a very interesting conclave, and the theme of the conclave is to do with entrepreneurship, where we are featuring 4 entrepreneurs who are just about less than the age of 35, who are young entrepreneurs and how they have scaled up their business. Of course, this is on the digital platform as always, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Details will come to you on email. And next Friday, we have a very interesting event. We are launching a book by the very eminent management consultant and one of those who's regarded as the father of management consultancy in India, Mr. Walter Vieira. His book is being launched on the BMA platform, and this book is being launched next Friday evening, as I said, and we are expecting, and therefore I'm still saying we are expecting Philip Kotler to come in the evening and do the valedictory session, because he's the one who's written the foreword for this book by Mr. Philip Kotler. So book your evening next Wednesday, next Friday, to continue to be with us on this learning journey. Thank you, everyone. I get a signal from the team that they've captured your smiles. Keep smiling. That's one of the best ways to beat the pandemic. Let the learning journey continue. And thank you once again for being with us here this evening. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Namaskar.